Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that life isn't high school, and if it was, she would be the loser now? My daughter is 24, Kelly, and my younger daughter is 23, Sarah. They both had very different high school experiences. Kelly was very social and in different sports. Sarah was very academic and had a small group of friends. Kelly got a sports scholarship for college but soon dropped out of college after she failed multiple classes. She basically partied and did her sport and nothing else. Sarah went on to finish her degree and is doing well in life. Kelly has a jealousy issue, and I have talked with her before about it. She is never happy when Sarah has an accomplishment. Today Sarah told us that she is going on a cruise for her vacation this year. Kelly always wanted to go on a cruise and couldn't afford it with her waiter job. In the car she blew up saying that Sarah was a loser in high school, so it isn't fair that she has all this now. She went on for a bit when I had enough. I told her that life isn't like high school and it was she was the loser now. This started an agreement and she called me a bitch. Not the asshole. She's acting like a loser who peaked in high school, and equates everything back to high school. You clearly put things into perspective in a way that she can understand, and she did not like it. Did she think being cool and good at a sport, that she no longer plays, would get her through life? Not the asshole, you tell it like it is. You're calling out that her high school mentality is super outdated and hopefully it resonates with her. It's sad to believe that status someone held in the 4 years of high school should determine the quality of life in the following decades. She's cruel to her sister for being successful, then complains when the mirror is reflected back on her life choices. Turns out the tables can turn sharply once you're in the adult world. Kelly made choices and she has to come to terms with the outcome. She still has plenty of time to make new choices too, she's still young. I 100% agree with what you told your daughter, but you missed a huge opportunity to ask her what her plans are to improve her life today. It was a perfect opportunity to push her towards college, trades, business ownership. We live in a time where college is not the only path to success. Even though your daughter is an adult, as a parent I hope you're pushing her to find a path that will allow her to fulfill her goals. Kelly obviously is ta for her jealousy, being stuck in high school and calling you a bitch. And ta. It's no one's fault but her own that she peaked in high school. Maybe this will give her a wake-up call to do something. Not the asshole, it's about time she got a reality check. She's the one who threw her studies down the drain to party while her sister worked her butt off to complete them. Actions have consequences, it's about time she learns this lesson. She's 24, not 14, it's time for her to grow up. Not the asshole. Show her Napoleon Dynamite and ask her if she wants to be that guy still reliving his HS football days by taping himself trying to throw a football over a mountain. Am I the asshole for canceling a family barbecue after my brother-in-law ran over my car? Okay, this all took place last weekend. Family barbecue was supposed to take place, in-laws, extended family, and family is coming over and all that jazz. Brother-in-law drives a huge pickup truck by the way, and I have a 911. Decent size difference. I see them pulling right, and brother-in-law is the driver and he's on his phone. Because of that, he looks right at my car, and as he's pulling in, he's still on his phone, and he hits my car. I guess he thought he was a lot farther than he actually was. Well, car's totaled. This is when people are just starting to show up too, and I'm basically steaming. I was not in barbecue mood at the time, so I told everyone to take themselves and go home, and that it is cancelled. Still waiting on the insurance payout. Also, I bought the car just last year so it's not even paid off. That day after everyone left, my wife is now mad at me because some of her family drove 3-5 hours to come, just to be sent home on arrival. And I lost $225,000. I don't care. But my wife seems to though, so I'm asking here to see if I'm the asshole. Why isn't BIL's insurance covering the vehicle? Everyone sucks here. I was on your side until you said that attendees had come from 3-5 hours away. Can you imagine driving 3-5 hours for a party only to find out it's been cancelled? Unless there was a death in the family, I'd be pissed. It absolutely sucks and I get why you'd not be in the mood to have a party. But to affect people who had come so far seems incredibly selfish. At the very least tell the brother-in-law to fuck off, but everyone? Messed up. You are the asshole. Yes, it sucks, but to do it as people are arriving is selfish. I assume both you and your brother-in-law have insurance.
The family and friends traveled a distance to attend, possibly cancelled other plans to attend, etc. You might have been upset, but you can suck it up and do your best.
I'd say nah, but what changed now that everyone was sent home? Your car is still totaled.
You're still mad.
It'll still get rectified via insurance. Literally the only thing that changed by you canceling is a lot of guests had their time wasted. I get not being in a barbecue mood. So why not just remove yourself from the barbecue? Edit. Actually your brother-in-law a sasshole for not paying attention while driving. Info. Was there anything preventing just you from skipping the barbecue? Like are you a pitmaster or something? I understand being so upset and not feeling like partying, but why couldn't your wife have hosted and you either cool down inside? I'm guessing your house is big enough since you had a car for the price of a house. Or go somewhere for a few hours to cool off. Park, bar, gym, friends, etc.
3 5-hour drive?
Hell yeah, you're the asshole.
They didn't hit your car.
Kick your brother-in-law out and go sulk in your room if you want. Am I the asshole for following through with my late wife's wishes?
I, 49M, was married to my wife for 20 years.
I lost her in a car accident 8 years ago.
We had 2 beautiful daughters together. Maeve, 18 now, 10 when her mother passed, and Alex, 16 now, 8 when her mother passed.
I am very close with my daughters, but they were both definitely mama's girls.
My wife was a magnetic woman.
She was beautiful, intelligent, kind, and people were drawn to her.
An important thing to know about my wife is that she had a passion for writing.
She was unfortunately in a profession where she didn't write much, so she did a lot on her own time.
One of her favorite things to write was letters.
She wanted people to know that she cared about them.
After she had each of my daughters, she wrote them a letter.
She wrote each within days after their births and wanted to give them away on their graduation days. She put them in the firebox in our basement to avoid losing or forgetting about them.
She wrote the letters with the intention of giving them to our daughters herself 18 years later as a sort of time capsule type of thing. Both letters contained mostly words of wisdom and information about what was going on when they were born. Maeve graduated from high school today and I went to her room with the letter tonight. I let her cry on my shoulder as she read it, and at first she seemed happy to have something directly from her mother. However, after she read it, she turned to me looking surprisingly angry. She asked why I had waited so long to give it to her. She had so many rough moments and heartbreak in the last 8 years where all she wanted was her mother's wisdom, and I withheld the letter. I told her that I was just doing what her mother had said she wanted, and Maeve shot back that her mother also hadn't planned on being in the accident. Alex heard the shouting and came into the room, and Maeve told her about the letter. Now they're both upset and don't want to talk to me. I feel so awful about this whole situation. I was raised by my single mother after my own dad took off, so on one hand, I've always wanted to be the best father I can, and I feel terrible that I withheld something that would have brought them comfort. On the other hand, my wife had very specific instructions about her intentions with the letters, and I just wanted to follow through with that. So now I'm very conflicted and I just want to know, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. At the end of the day, those letters are for their graduations. No other time. If their mother was still alive, they wouldn't have gotten it until you gave it to her. I do understand their side though. I don't know what your daughters have gone through throughout the years, and I'm sure the letter would have really helped, but at the end of the day those letters were a gift for their graduations, and I believe you did the right thing. I personally would have listened to your wife like you did, so I believe you're not the asshole. Nah. This is a fragile, emotional situation. I have been writing in journals to my daughter since she was born, and plan on giving them to her when she turns 18. I'm sure if I passed, my husband would have also withheld them, thinking he was doing right by me the way he always has. You were just trying to honor your wife. I hope they can eventually forgive you, because it's not as if you did it to intentionally hurt them. Nah. You were rightfully carrying out your wife's wishes. However, I think it's okay for them to be upset, especially if she wrote things that would have been comforting, which it sounds like she did. Not the asshole. Those words may not have been meant for them earlier. And they may not have been as meaningful when they were 8 and 10. She is touched because she's adult enough to appreciate this gesture. When she's even more of an adult, she may understand why you had to honor her wishes. Right now you have to go with what you had, the wishes she left behind. Nah.
Your daughters miss their mom and are reacting from an emotional place. You are acting out of a desire to honor their mother's wishes. I think both reactions are understandable and are rooted in the love you all feel for her, and your grief at losing her. I'm sure you thought it would be a touching surprise. There is no fault here. Talk to your daughters.
Explain where your desire to honor her original intent comes from. Point out how much you love her and them and that you weren't trying to withhold something precious from them, but give it to them in the manner their mother wanted them to receive it. That it didn't occur to you to deviate from the timing she originally envisioned.
And express regret for that, and I'm sure they'll come around. I'm sorry for your loss.
You've written about your wife with such love and care. Grief is something that never ends.
You have followed your wife's wishes for your children.
They're hurting and lashed out because they miss her. This doesn't mean you're doing a bad job as a parent. This doesn't mean you've done the wrong thing either.
I think it's beautiful that she took the time to write those letters, and I hope now your eldest can find comfort in her letter.
You're doing your best, you're grieving too. Am I the asshole for refusing to change catering services to accommodate my vegan, gluten-free cousin?
My fiancé, Daniel, and I are in the process of planning our wedding.
We recently decided on a catering service that we thought was the best option within our price range that would satisfy all of our guests' dietary needs. Most significantly, Daniel's brother has a tree nut allergy, so we needed a service that would accommodate that, which limited our options. About a week ago, my cousin, Meredith, reached out to me letting me know she is now eating vegan and gluten-free for health reasons. Kennedy is known to hop on trends only to move on to something else the next month, whether it be clothes, food, etc. So I highly doubt she will still be vegan and gluten-free by the time the wedding rolls around. Still, we had not finalized our menu yet, so I sent her the catering website and asked her to pick what she wanted. A few minutes later, Meredith informed me that the only vegan gluten-free entree was a mushroom dish and said, "You know I despise mushrooms."
I had no idea. I also had no idea she was vegan and gluten-free. She asked if there was another catering company I could use. I told her no. Both Daniel and I looked through the menus for companies that satisfied all dietary needs of our guests and picked the one we liked the most. I didn't say this, but it's also a matter of principle and not just which food we like. Asking us to change our catering service to accommodate her want, not her need, is incredibly self-centered, and if I agreed, I would be reinforcing crappy behavior. She complained, "Everyone's needs but mine," and I retorted, "Your needs are met. If you do not like mushrooms, perhaps you can eat beforehand." I thought that would be the end, but the next morning I woke up to several messages from Meredith with links to catering companies. A lot of them were all vegan or all gluten-free. I am not subjecting my guests to a vegan or gluten-free wedding, and some of them were companies Daniel and I had looked at. I told Meredith my decision was final and that if she pressed more I would uninvite her for my wedding. She has not bothered me since. I asked Daniel what he thought, since he is my voice of reason, and he said that I shouldn't have threatened to uninvite Meredith over some text messages. He even said that if she just really hated mushrooms and had no real reason to be vegan or gluten-free, we could pick a different place and it wasn't a big deal. It's easier for us to change so early in the process, and there were lots of other options we liked. I told him it's not just about the food or the hassle of change, it's about principle. Daniel said if I was really that petty and just wanted to teach Meredith a lesson, I should let it go. Does not changing the catering company make me an AH? Not the asshole at all. Like you said, she's asking you to change your caterer to accommodate her wants, not her needs. I think it's reasonable to get upset if your wedding didn't have options for her dietary restrictions, but if there is a vegan gluten-free option, it's not your responsibility to make sure it's something that she will like. More importantly, it's your wedding. You should be making sure you cater food that you and your fiancé would enjoy. It is meant to be your day. Not the asshole. Meredith reached out to me letting me know she is now eating vegan and gluten-free for health reasons. Well, then she can have one unhealthy meal. Meredith informed me that the only vegan gluten-free entree was a mushroom dish and said, "You know I despise mushrooms." NGL, then maybe don't choose to exclusively eat vegan, if you refuse to touch one of its most popular proteins? Not the asshole. Meredith, Kennedy is being deliberately difficult. I'm always curious about these people who expect weddings to be just changed on their whims. Have they not heard of contracts? I doubt your catering company would be willing to forego your deposit because of one relative. Not the asshole. I am vegan and have been for many years, but I still wouldn't expect you to change anything to suit me.
If I didn't like the option for vegan, I would bring something with me. Have had to do that before and no doubt will again.
It is a me problem, so I need to solve it. So does your cousin. Not the asshole.
Meredith or Kennedy or whatever is suffering from new vegan syndrome and hasn't learned that the world doesn't, literally, cater to her chosen diet. After 30+ years, I just ask politely to see the menu and figure out what I can put together to meet my needs and see if I can put together something to eat.
If I can't, I eat beforehand.
The idea of asking someone to change their caterer to meet my needs is beyond audacious and is completely rude. This is a wedding, not 2 weeks in the wilderness, and she will survive missing a meal.
Not the asshole.
Still, we had not finalized our menu yet, so I sent her the catering website and asked her to pick what she wanted.
Sounds like you made an effort to accommodate. Didn't you know I despise mushrooms? She sounds a bit entitled. Understandable, you got irritated emo.